Foundation. We'd like to welcome you to Mr. Brice's neighborhood. Welcome to Mr. Brice's neighborhood. Welcome to Mr. Brice's neighborhood. Welcome to Mr. Brice's neighborhood. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all our listeners and to everybody out there that will be listening to this at some point. Good evening, and my name is Mr. Brice, and you are now watching Mr. Brice's Neighborhood. I have a special guest with me, next to me. It's a good brother. It's a friend of mine. Proud to call him friend, even though I haven't even necessarily known him that long. And anybody that knows me, I don't really call nobody a friend, particularly, that quick. I usually take my time with things. But this is a good brother. His spirit, from the moment that we met, we connected, and just a great individual. And he's got a story to tell. So that's what I wanted to, have him on the show, to be able to bring out the different things that he's got going on and some information. That's what this platform is for. It's a community show, and it's all about highlighting the wonderful things that's happening in the community. And he definitely has a story to tell. And without further ado, let's give it up for Mr. Kevin Philpotts. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. You know what? Let me give you some claps too. Let me give you claps.
That was a hell of an introduction, so I hope I can live up to it.
All right, you know what I mean? So what's good, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, man. Everything is good.
I'm glad to hear that, man. So listen, let's just get right into it. Just tell us a little bit about, who is Mr. Kevin Philpotts? Where are you from? Kind of start out, where, tell me a little bit about yourself to let the audience know.
I'm a Brooklyn born and raised young man. Okay. I was born in East Flatbush section of Brooklyn.
Okay, New York City.
Absolutely.
That's what's up. Okay.
2-parent household. A brother lived with us. Okay. I had a decent upbringing. No complaints whatsoever. Okay. I don't have much in terms of a hard knock life.
That's good.
I did okay. I finished high school and went off to Syracuse University.
Wow, you went to Syracuse. What high school did you go to in Brooklyn, though?
I went to Nazareth. Regional. I went to a private school.
Now, private school. Yep. Oh, okay. Did any, you know what? Like, listen, I don't know if it happens to you, but when I talk with people down here and they're like, "Oh, you're from New York? Yo, did you go to school with this famous person or this famous person?" I'm like, nah.
Once in a while, I get that. If I'm talking to somebody from New York, obviously, I don't get that because they
absolutely
know. Right. But out here, every once in a while, somebody will say something.
All right, so that's my question. Did you go to school with anybody famous? Anybody famous came out of was it Nazarene, right?
Yeah, Nazareth. Nobody famous, at least that people would know outwardly.
Got you.
As of right now, I don't even like to put it out there because I'm not a fan of what it is. Sure. But he's in politics, and he's somebody significant down in Florida. Okay. Moving and shaking in the Republican Party, whether he's Republican, Democrat, none of that matters.
He's just doing his thing.
He's doing his thing. I'm just not a fan of the policies that he pushes. So absolutely, I don't push him up.
That's fine. But he's doing his thing. So
absolutely, and he's doing well.
That's good. That's good for him. So all right, so you went to Nazareth, and what kind of student were you? I
was a pretty good student. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was one of those people that I probably shouldn't publicize it as such, but I very rarely opened the book, but I was in National Honor Society.
Wow. Okay.
It just came to me.
It came easy to you.
It came very easily.
So, okay. Wow. So,
I don't tell my kids that though.
No, I got you. Okay. So you didn't really study. You didn't really, you just
not
had
very often. Not very often.
So did you learn early on, and we're going to get into more, but did you learn early on that you were like maybe a listener type of learner, or did you have to like open the book and stuff like that? Because if you didn't really open the book, that means you just paid attention to what the teacher was talking and you understood.
For the most part, yeah. When I was younger, well, there's things that I learned about myself and how I learned later on in life. Sure. And things have kind of changed for me in terms of how I grasp things now. Sure. But that's fair to say when I was younger, it was strictly a I'd hear it and it registered. With the exception of, I did have my issues a little bit with mathematics. It was never my thing. I could count my bread, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. Okay.
After we got to a certain point,
So you're more English.
Absolutely.
Okay. English writing. Okay.
Without a doubt.
So math, science, not really your thing.
Science I was cool with. Math was really the only thing I had my issues with.
Got you.
I was fortunate enough. Pops was good with it. So.
Okay. All right. So then, so you was National Honor Society. So you was a good student then, for sure. So now you're matriculating. Did you play any sports or anything? Or
I did a little things in high school here and there, but if we're talking about for the school itself, not really.
Okay, all right.
I played in leagues or other than that.
I got you. All right, so then now you're graduating, okay, and you get accepted to Syracuse University.
Yes,
now, I just want to let the record show, if you got accepted to Syracuse University, then you got mad acceptances. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest with you.
You didn't just get one. You got mad acceptances.
I didn't get just one, but I'll be honest with you. I didn't put many out. And this is a part of my story.
Wow. I
do remember very, very vividly coming toward the end of my high school career.
Okay.
If we call it a career, but whatever.
Well, yeah, but it's like a bid sometimes, though.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Coming toward the end of high school, the big talk from my parents and family and friends is what's next, of course. Everybody wants to know what's next. You're going to go to school, you're going to service, you're going to start working. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I did know that I did not want to go away to school immediately. I wanted to take time to try to figure things out for myself because I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do.
Wow. So you wanted to actually stay home and go to like a community college.
No, I wouldn't even say community. I did not know what I wanted. I just was not ready.
Chill.
I don't even know if I'd say chill. I was prepared to say, all right, I'll go work for a year. If we want to take a year off, whatever it is, because I was not sure what lied ahead for me.
Right.
So I was trying to figure it out, but my dukes and my pops were not having it.
Okay. So how did that make you feel? Because, my kids oftentimes tell me, particularly my older daughter, she'll tell me, well, that's not what I want. And I'm doing this for you. And then we got to get into it or whatever. How did that, at that time, because this we're talking, and it looks like, I'm not want to guess your age, but you look like you're around the 90s.
I got no shame.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay. So you're in the 90s. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you probably graduate like 96, right? So at that time, it was a different time than what it is right now.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kids now have a lot more where they're able to use their voice more. And I think back then, you might have had a little voice, but you ain't had too much of a voice. You know what I'm saying?
It's fair to say I didn't have any.
You ain't had no voice, right?
Exactly. I didn't have a voice.
Okay. So what my question is, though, how did it make you feel, though, that, your moms and your pops was like, nah, you gotta, they were part of the plan making for you. How did that make you feel?
It wasn't the greatest feeling, but how it was presented to me made it a little bit of an easier pill to swallow.
Okay.
We know a lot of people in our communities just don't have these opportunities, especially then. As time goes on, obviously things get a little bit better.
Right.
But with some of the money that I was given from Syracuse, the opportunity to go away, to be free for a little bit and not under the watchful eye of my parents, a lot of that kind of made it an easier pill to swallow, like I said. So I was like, all right, you know what? You are correct. Okay. Not everybody has the opportunity to go to college, let alone away.
Right. Right.
And so with that being said, I kind of, accepted it begrudgingly, but I took on the task, and that's kind of where it was.
Wow. Wow. I know people in my neighborhood. I grew up in Lakeview, Long Island, for part of it. And also the other part was Hempstead, Long Island. And, we always, liked, Syracuse University. I was always a Syracuse Orangeman. You know what I'm saying? We was basketball, right?
Sure.
So we loved, Dwayne Pearl Washington and this cat from, I didn't know him, but my father knew him. He went to Malvern High School. His name was Andre Hawkins, and he used to play with back in like the 1980, 81, 82, somewhere around there. So he went from my neighborhood. He went to Syracuse. I think Derek Atkins went to Syracuse as well, but I could be wrong about that. But anyway, I mean, Syracuse has a lot of prestige, especially in the New York City area. Okay, that was like between that and St. John's, it was always like, yo, where you gonna go? St. John's? Or
I was big on Derek Coleman at the time.
Derek Coleman, D.C., right? Yeah. Sherman Douglas, all them cats, right? I was more St. John's, though. I ain't gonna lie. I was more Mark Jackson. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
It's a little closer to home for you.
A little closer to home, absolutely. But so you go in there, right? I mean, why Syracuse? I mean, there wasn't like a Columbia or like a NYU or something?
Penn State NYU was in there, but NYU, I felt like if I was going to do it, I didn't want to be that close to home. Okay, even though I didn't want to go, I was like, all right, let's figure something out. Ah, man, I missed it.
You'd have been in the city, though. Yeah. But I got you,
though. And Penn State was one. Mm-hmm. And I forget, there might have been like one or two others, but there weren't many that I threw out there in the beginning. But in any event, I chose Syracuse because what I ultimately did decide what I wanted to do, or what I thought I wanted to do, was broadcast journalism. And if you understand or are in the know at all, Syracuse is one of the top schools for broadcast journalism.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into that specific program because, for obvious reasons, it's one of the best. Some of the biggest names come out of Syracuse.
Right.
And so I ended up taking up speech communications, which is adjacent to that.
Okay.
In the hopes that once I did that, if there were openings or somehow I could transition and get into it, but it didn't work out that way.
Wow. Okay. All right. So now you go to Syracuse. Mm-hmm. What was that like, though? What was that experience like? Culture shock or?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
More of the people or more because of the weather?
Definitely the weather.
Because it's disrespectfully.
It's
cold up there. Disrespectful.
I say it all the time. Snow up to like your hip is a regular occurrence.
Wow.
That's regular. I'm thinking like we get some of these days, I'm going to end up with a snow day here too. Never. By the time you get up, campus is clear.
Wow. It's still time to make moves.
Yeah, it never stops.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Imagine if they had virtual then, though. That would have been ill, right?
They probably still wouldn't have used it.
All right. So you're there 4 years, and you're there at the highlight of Syracuse basketball too, right? So you're having a great time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you get your degree. And it's in speech communications.
Yeah, it is speech communications.
Okay. So if you just take me just a little bit through the major, what did you learn there?
First and foremost, I remember this from day one. One of the first things, and it stuck with me always, is one cannot not communicate.
Okay.
And at the time, when it was first said to me, I was like, what are you talking about? And then as the classes went on, it started to make more sense. And it's absolutely true. One cannot not communicate. Like, it's impossible.
Right.
Whether you like to or not, you're communicating either verbally, non-verbally, emotionally, somehow, some way, you're communicating every day, all day.
Right. Okay.
And so that was one of the first things that stuck out to me. And then I remember some of my speech classes where we, learn how to form a speech and different stages of the speeches and, how to stand before a crowd and deliver and vocal inflections, all this other stuff.
Wow.
It was I found it somewhat intriguing, but at the same time, I was like, man,
okay. So did it help you kind of manage your nerves though? Because that's the biggest thing to me. I know when I gotta speak.
Public speaking?
Yes, it's the nerves.
Yeah, no, that's just something that you either enjoy doing public speaking
or you just don't. Okay.
I have learned over the years to become a lot more comfortable with it, but the nerves. Even sometimes still, depending upon the nature of the conversation that I'm having with a crowd. Some days I'll walk up and it's really nothing. And then the other days I'm a little bit jittery.
So okay. All right. So then, because I do have a couple of questions about the speech thing, but I want to move it along a little bit. So, okay. So you graduate, you get your degree. Okay. You get your master's too, or you get your bachelor's?
No master's. Okay.
Just bachelor's, 4-year degree, Syracuse University. Okay. Now what?
Exactly.
What? So tell me what happened. So was employers calling you?
Not at all. See, things are a little bit different nowadays. Like nowadays, you kind of walk out, you got the internet. The internet was around back then.
But you had the classifieds.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't exactly the same as it was.
Exactly.
We were in the transitioning phase
when you graduated.
Right, around 2000.
Around 2000. So now, did you come back home or you?
Yeah, I went back home to Brooklyn.
You came back home to Brooklyn. Okay.
I was not staying up there, bro.
Okay. Okay. But, all right, so you came back home to Brooklyn. So now you're looking for a job in the city or in New York or?
So, again, I went to school not really knowing what I wanted to do. I took speech communications as an alternative to broadcast journalism.
Right.
That's not the field I really got into. I wanted to do kind of like a play-by-play for basketball and so on, but it didn't work out that way. And speech communications, there's a lot you can do with that, teaching and so on and so forth, but it didn't interest me. It wasn't something I just kind of went through the motions and finished it because that's what I was supposed to do.
Gotcha.
4 years. And so I came out not knowing what direction I was going to head into.
Okay.
And so I've tried my hands at a lot of different jobs. I've worked in corporate America. I've worked for Wells Fargo. I've worked for Goldman Sachs. I started out actually what I wanted to do also in school was, because at the time it was brand new, was web page development.
Web page design. Web page design. Okay.
And I started doing it and I was heavy into it. But once you start getting into it, for all y'all that don't know, the game has totally changed. The computer does everything for you now.
Right, you can click
Back
it.
then, you had to know the language and C++ and all this, and if and do loops and all that.
Right.
And it was cool for a little bit, and then I learned like the second you learn it, it's obsolete. And then you got to do this tomorrow. And I was like, I'm not trying to chase this constantly. Now, had I known then what I know now, I might have stuck with it.
Sure.
But then, like I was saying, I did several different things over the years, and none of them really resonated with me. It did not fulfill me at all.
Wow. So that's something else. So, and what do you think that is because of the broadcast? The initial major that you didn't get a chance to do. You think that's the reason, or you don't even think?
Not at all.
It just wasn't you.
It just that was part of the development coming up. Like I just didn't know. I was thrust into this, and I went through the motions and kind of did what I was supposed to do because I was, mom and dad sold me the dream.
Right. Wow.
For lack of a better term.
Sell you the dream.
And that's just what I did. But like I said, I was going through the motions.
Right.
It was never presented to me that there are other options.
So you've been kind of conditioned, which a lot of us have been conditioned. I've been conditioned.
Absolutely.
A lot of people have been conditioned that, listen, you try to get good grades, and then you try to go to college, you get a degree, and then you'll find a job, and then life will be just grand. Right?
That's pretty much what it was.
That's what it is, right?
It's accurate.
But you did all that. You got good grades. You went National Honor Society. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really have to study. Just came to you naturally. Then you get a scholarship, right? To Syracuse?
I got partial. Yeah, partial.
I mean, you got some money, right?
Yeah,
well, you got a scholarship. So whatever. Okay. You got a scholarship to go to Syracuse University. There's only one other person that I know in my lifetime that's ever gotten a scholarship for Syracuse based on academics, not because of their sporting ability, academics. And that was Brian Dendy. I went to school with him. He became a airlines pilot. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So you go to Syracuse, you get your degree, prestigious school, you come home, and you're figuring out, what do I do? So then you got some jobs. You said you worked in corporate America, right?
It didn't work for me.
It didn't work for you. What didn't you like about corporate America? Was it the suit and the tie, or was it the Monday through Friday thing? Or
no, Monday through Friday don't bother me.
Okay.
Suit and ties don't really bother me.
Okay.
I kind of got lost in the mix of being behind the desk, shuffling papers, moving around, and I kind of learned, if I may, kind of transition into.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I knew I wasn't fulfilled. I knew I really wasn't liking it, but. Listen, you got to feed yourself.
Right. You
still got to go out there and fend for yourself.
Right.
And but I knew I wanted to do something else, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
So something was pulling you. So I like to call it. I'm not sure. It's in a in between space, right? Mm-hmm. So you're here. You're making money. You're making decent money, I'm sure, because you got that 4-year degree from Syracuse, right? but you're not fulfilled. Even though you're making the money and you know what I'm saying? You didn't have children at the time, did you?
No, I didn't have kids.
Right, so you didn't have children, so it was just you. And you still, something's still pulling you. You know what I'm saying? What was that emotion like? Was that, what was that like? Because I'm sure a lot of people deal with that, where they're working a job, but they don't like the job.
Right. It was frustrating, to say the least. That's probably the best way to put it. It was frustrating because there's something else.
Right.
You don't know what it is. And so you're stuck in this rat race. You're just kind of going through it every day. You wake up and you're not, but by the grace of God, I was able to find something totally by accident.
Okay. And
so
that's what I want you now. Now, how long after college did you finally find it?
Maybe I'd say two going on 3 years, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay. So no, okay. All right.
It wasn't a ridiculously long time, but it felt like I did a bit.
It felt like you did a bit. Okay. All right. So tell me, how did you, because sometimes it's like that. You just stump up across something, you know what I'm saying? So tell me what happened.
So I'll try to condense the story.
Sure.
At the time, I was living in Brooklyn, but my girlfriend, now my wife, hey babe, she was going to school at Temple.
Okay.
And the agreement that she and I had were, because we started getting really serious, was I'd leave New York, I'd come live here with her, let her go to school, do her thing.
Right.
I would try to do my best to make sure we had everything we needed while she tended to her education.
Right.
And when she went to Temple. When she graduated from Temple, that day we were supposed to have the U-Haul truck backed up to the crib and move back to Brooklyn.
Okay.
And when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody or anything in Philly.
Okay.
Or at the time I was in Philly.
Right.
Every weekend I was back and forth to New York.
Okay.
Because that's where
everything was. Right. Absolutely.
Putting a lot of miles on my car.
Sure.
At that time, I had a Camry and I put a lot of miles on it. So
they can hold up though.
They definitely did. Just out of general concern, and I was doing fairly well. I was like, you know what, I'm finna go out and get a different car that I don't have to put all these miles on.
Okay.
And I ended up buying wasn't brand new, but it was new to me, and it had very few miles on it.
Okay.
And within a couple weeks, I hadn't even made the first payment on it.
Okay. What did you buy though?
I bought a Galant.
Okay.
Mitsubishi Galant. 03 Mitsubishi Galant. I bought it in 02 Mitsubishi Galant. I bought it in 03.
All right.
Back then, I didn't have a garage or anything. I parked on the street.
Right.
Parked it on a small corner where I typically parked it in front of the house.
Right.
And like I said, every weekend we would go. And that weekend, my girlfriend at the time, wife, she said to me, look, we always go back to New York. Why don't we just chill here this weekend?
Just chill and relax, right.
I said, you know what, that's cool. We ain't got to go
y'all
back.
In Philly, get a cheesesteak or something?
That's exactly what it was. Let's go out and get something to eat.
Yeah, cool. Chill, right.
That's all right. Came home from work, went upstairs, took a quick shower, changed my clothes, and the 20, 30 minutes that it took me to go up and do that and come back down, my car was smashed up on the corner.
Wow.
So I'm like, damn. And it was summertime, everybody's out, and my man saw that everybody's out, so he wrote a little note, put it on the windshield.
Oh, okay.
It was all bogus, though. Everything was bogus. He only did it because there were a lot of people in the neighborhood.
Right.
And so, long story short, I called up the insurance company. They sent over the check.
Okay.
And I looked at the check. I looked at the damage. And I'm like, I'm going to put this bread in my pocket. I'm going to figure out how to do this. Because I tinker with stuff.
Okay.
And just so happens to be a coworker of mine said, you know, at Mount Airy, they have a small class for auto body. You pay $50 on a weekend, and they'll show you for like 6 weeks how to just do the intro to it. I was like, all right, cool.
Wow.
I ended up learning how to do it.
Okay.
Fell in love with it.
Okay.
Transition happened right then. A couple months later, I was in Penco Tech learning how to do auto body, and the rest is history.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Okay, wait. So you, wait a minute. So on the weekend, what you're telling me is that on the weekend, you're still running the rat race. You're doing what you got to do, right? But on the weekends, you go to New York. This particular weekend, you decide to stay down here, but your car got hit. Then that kind of sparked your interest in like, yo, I mean, because I'm sure a lot of people, I don't say a lot of people. I know I've been there where I've gotten the insurance check from an accident. And even though it priced out at like $5,000, I'm going to my man who could do it for $1,000. I got the 4 in my pocket. Or if I don't really care about the car and already had a dent in it,
keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing, son. I just got 5 G's in my pocket.
To be fair, to me, this was my baby. I just got it.
03. No, 03 Galant that was official. This. Yeah, absolutely. So, but you said, no, I'm going to try to see if I could do it myself a little bit.
Yeah. It wasn't, I don't want to make it seem like it was just totaled.
Okay.
It had significant enough damage.
Right.
But enough for me to say, I'm going to try to fix this.
Yeah, but it's 03. So, you ain't want to ride around with that in summertime too.
Not at all.
That's a hurt piece, right? I think I crashed my car like 93, man, summertime, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was crying. I was sitting on the curb crying.
Got that right.
So, all right. So then you figure out, you learn about this little welding thing. Somebody tells you about a welding class, and then that
auto body class.
Welding was included in that. And then that particular interest.
That was it for me.
That was what you wanted.
That was the piece. That's when I figured, I was like, this is it.
You was missing back in 96.
Yep. I just didn't know it. I didn't even consider it. Was never on the radar.
Wow. There's so many pieces. That's why I wanted to bring this story. Because I'm a guidance counselor, and I'm a counselor of all things. And a lot of kids, they always are confused about what to do. And they're like, I don't know what I'm good at. And we spend a lot of time, kind of going over what your intrinsic abilities are, what are this, what's that. And just really what I teach them is live the dream, because you're young enough to do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like it took you about 7 years before you said, yeah, I'm going to go for it.
Well, it didn't take me 7 years to say I was going for it. I just didn't know what I was going for. Had I discovered sooner.
Okay, so you found it. It took you 7 years to find it. It took me 7 years to find it, yeah. So then now you went to Penco Tech.
Yep.
How long was that for?
It's about 1.5 years.
Okay, and that was for auto body and welding, or was that for the mechanic? The
auto body. I didn't take the mechanic portion. Okay. You could have done that as well.
Yeah.
Working under the hood, mechanics and transmissions and engines. I didn't do that portion. I just wanted the auto body portion of it. Okay, so you got your certificate? Yep.
Okay, what Penco
Top of the class, by the way.
Wow, did you open the book?
No. But that's a little bit different. They're not book heavy.
That's more hands-on.
Yeah, they're not book heavy.
Okay.
So I don't take much.
All right, that's cool. All right, so which one you went to? The one in Jersey?
No, I went to the one in Bristol.
In Bristol, Pennsylvania?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I was in Philly at the time.
You was in Philly. Okay, I got you. All right, so you go to that 1.5 years, you get it, and then what's next for you?
So after I graduate, immediately I got a job as an auto body mechanic at an auto body machine.
Okay.
I worked there for a little bit. Bread wasn't enough for what I thought I was worth.
Okay.
So I transitioned and went to another place.
Okay. Same type of work, auto body, fixing auto body. Okay.
Same thing.
Okay.
And if I go back for a second though, while I was at Penco Tech, SEPTA used to come through and say, we're looking for, because obviously most people think SEPTA is just bus operators, train operators, Charlie. No.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody got to fix them.
That's a good point.
Somebody has to fix these buses, trains, and trolleys.
That's a good point.
Whether they break down, get into accidents, whatever may have you. Somebody's got to fix the facilities that we're in.
That's a good point. That's good. That's great points.
So all of this, at the time, Penco Tech would come to, SEPTA would come to Penco Tech.
To recruit.
And yes, exactly. They would recruit.
Okay.
And so I would take the auto body exam. And when I took it, at first I couldn't pass it, despite being top tech. It's because a lot of what they do is specialized work. Okay. Things have changed, and I'll get into that. But the test at that time wasn't really designed for an individual who didn't work already at the facility.
Got you.
To pass.
Got you.
I ended up figuring some things out as time goes on, because that's just how it's New York.
Right. We're going to figure out a way.
We're going to figure out a way. And so I was able to finally, while I was at the job at the auto shop. Okay. I got a call from SEPTA and was like, listen, you want to come in for an interview? Wow. So of course, because I already knew the stability of the job, how and so on and so forth. And it was a no-brainer for me. And then shortly after that, I left, and I've been gainfully employed with SEPTA for 16 plus years now. Wow.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Wow. So it's funny, man, because so oftentimes we think that sometimes we think we're on the path, and just like that, our whole world can change. So, I mean, first, I think it's amazing. I also think that I thank God for it, because that's
you.
I'm sure you do. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to know, like, what was in you to keep going? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because so many people, they'll you know, like, I'll give you an example, right? Like, and I thank my family and my loved ones for that, and my faith in God too, to be honest with you. I was working for Dyfish, and you know what? I was just like, yo, I'm just going to settle in here because it was a good job. It had stability. But ask me if I loved it. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. I could not stand it. And it wasn't the people. It wasn't the people I couldn't stand, but it was the mountains and mountains of paperwork. And people would tell me, you cannot physically, humanly possible complete this job. But yet you're still holding me to a standard. I didn't understand that. That was crazy. So the minute I said, yo, I'm just going, because they was going to move me to intake. I said, yo, I'm just going to buckle down and just do this job, man, and just do my little 20, 25 years, I'm good. The minute I said that to myself, I went to go sit down at the desk. Ring. Guidance counselor job call. Had the interview.
I don't believe in coincidences.
You know, it's all part of the big master plan, right? But I'm talking about the struggle to get to the plan. And that's where I think that a lot of the kids, a lot of even adults, they're getting fatigued, or they're thinking that, you know what? The only way that I can be successful is I gotta go to college.
No, not at all. First of all, I don't equate success to a degree or any dollar amount or anything. Success is
what society does, though. That's the thing.
No lies.
You know what I mean?
No lie.
That's the only thing. But you don't do it, and I don't, and I don't do it either. So, what is success to you?
It varies from individual to individual, but for me,
sure.
As long as I feel like I'm a productive citizen, I can provide for my family, and I'm not like struggling, and my kids are happy, and I don't have everybody's got a concern, but when I say a concern in the world, I'm good money. Okay. I don't need to have the hugest house on the mountain. Okay. If that's what makes you wake up every day and that's what you strive for, that's on you. I support that. Right. I don't want to struggle either. Right. But I'm perfectly comfortable in knowing that I do what I love on a daily basis. And that to me is probably where the success lies.
That's it. That is where it is. You're doing what you love. So do you feel like, I mean, of course, the minutia, because that's the new word we're using on our shows, the minutia of going to work, working the job, I'm sure that gets on your nerves. The getting up, having to go to bed at a certain time, having to get up, travel, the traffic. Those are all the little, you know what I'm saying? But when you're working, do you love what you do?
Yes. So here's the thing. And now we can really get into the transition, because I explained to you that I got into SEPTA, started doing auto body. I did auto body for 13 plus years. Okay. But I did tell you I worked for SEPTA for 16.
That is correct.
The last 2 years and change, going on 3 years, I am working with my union. My union and SEPTA are exclusive, but they have to intertwine, obviously. Sure. And so I am technically on leave from SEPTA, but I am still employed by SEPTA while I work with my union.
It's a union.
And what I do with the union is my official title is apprentice coordinator, apprentice field coordinator. But I have my hands in training and a lot of other things as it pertains to any job that is a 234 related job. Okay. And when I say 234, just for clarity, it's transfer workers union local 234. Okay. So anything that falls under that umbrella in terms of training, apprenticeships, and so on. Okay. It comes across my desk. And it sounds weird because I intentionally got away from all of that to go work with my hands doing auto body. Right. But in doing so, in my years in SEPTA, we used to have an internship during the summer for high school kids. Okay. They would come in and they would work with either me or, whatever mentor side by side.
Sure.
We would show them the ins and outs, the daily routine of what we do.
Right.
And I became very, very involved in that because it meant something to me to give back to somebody younger who may be in the very same position I was in years ago. And that's kind of where it triggered me to say, okay, if I'm going to do quote unquote, it's not a corporate job, but where I'm pushing papers and I have to be involved with not necessarily working with my hands in the creative aspect of it, then this would be it. And I have been doing that for the last 2.5 years.
Wow, that's dope. So you're actually almost like training.
Not me personally.
No, but you're organizing it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're setting it up.
I'm facilitating it because I can't make the moves without the company, but yes.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
You're facilitating it but do you ever meet with some of the students, so to speak?
Sure, I have to. That's part of my job is I am more concerned with the members of our union getting the representation and the information that they need
to be successful.
Basis. Absolutely.
Right.
So I'm there just about every step of the way. I can't be over your shoulder every day because we have over 5,200 members in the union. Obviously, not all of them are in training. Most of us already have a position.
Right.
But if you're looking to transition into something, or while you're in training, you feel like you're not getting what it is that you need to excel. Right. I do my best to either step in and get you where you need to go, or to complete the.
Wow. Now, when you talked about, real quick, the high school program, I have to think that was for an alternative to college. Was that kind of like just kind of exposing them to that a little bit, or what?
Yes and no. You're not far off base there, because some of the kids were in similar positions where they weren't certain what it was but some of the kids were also going to technical high schools, like a Mass Bomb, where they.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Where that's kind of like the avenue there.
Yeah.
Headed in.
They're already being kind of trained a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I got you.
But I also do, now that I'm in the position, is where I go out now and I give us a much further reaching arm to other high schools, and I'll speak to them and say, listen, I know there are people like you out there that mom and dad might tell you have to go, or you should go, or your counselors sometimes, whatever the case may be.
I'm guilty of it. I ain't gonna
There are a lot of people out there that do that, and there are kids that either academically aren't ready for it. Let's call a spade a spade. Not everybody is built to go to school. Not everybody wants to go to school. Right. And sometimes, like in my instance, there's something there that you didn't even know exists. And I've done that many times where I'll go to schools and I'll speak to them, and then I'll mention unions and apprenticeships and so on and so forth. And I see eyes open.
Oh, yeah. Because
they're like, wait, I can do this?
I could do this, and I don't have to go to school. Yep. So I do think that, I could just say me, like, I got a master's and all that. That's cool, right?
Dope.
But I promise you, I was like a D student. I went to summer school like 6 times. I just wasn't, part of it, I have to blame myself. For the most part, I blame myself, right?
Explain.
But what I mean is that I didn't apply myself. But my reasoning for why I wasn't applying myself, I have to put a little bit onus on the teachers. And the only reason why I say that is because everybody learns differently. And when I was going to school, it was like you had to be conformed to learn this way. And I didn't really, I'm talking about, I graduated 94, right? So if there was one kid that was diagnosed with ADHD, it was like, yo, wow.
Right. There's a lot more access to.
Now it's like the world has come to figure out that half of America has got ADHD. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if I, had that type of service, I probably would have maybe been a little better. You know what I'm saying? But also, when you're constantly failing tests, when you're constantly not achieving well within that system,
it's discouraging.
It actually confirms your initial thought that you're not intelligent, you're not smart. So when I graduated high school, you at least, and I say, kudos to you and your parents or whatever. You knew that, okay, yeah, I could do this with ease. I could do it. A kid like me, and I'm sure there's kids worse than I was. They don't even think I didn't think I could do it, son. So I'm really lost. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that that there's other opportunities out there, I didn't even consider that at the time, because at the time it was like college or you just
college or the service, one of the two.
College, service, or city job. That's what we were told in New York. Right. City or state job. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, state job? You start working like 18, 19? I'm like, damn. I already been working in school. I ain't trying to. I need a break, bro. and then at the time, going to Nassau Community College, they considered that like 13th grade. So you was getting clowned for even everybody else going to HBCU. They going away. You going to 13th grade with everybody up in that piece? Nah, son.
A lot of negative stigma between community colleges, which isn't fair either.
That's changing, though.
Yeah.
Now, that narrative's changing.
That's because of the finances of it all.
Absolutely, right. But my point that I just wanted to make is that the fact that you're out there championing efforts to grow and to empower kids that there's other alternatives besides the traditional college path, I think is amazing. And they can actually find what they love to do. You found what you love to do. That's a testimony in itself. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I can honestly say that from someone that loves what they do to another person that loves what they do, we're truly blessed.
Absolutely. And as you said, the minutia of it all.
Minutia?
Man, skip me with a lot of the paperwork, skip me with the face-to-face of fellow co-workers and the company and this, that, and the other. But when I'm face-to-face with the youth
and
you're engaging and they see something and they have questions, that's very fulfilling. That's a dope feeling.
There's nothing better. No. You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like you're making a mark on the world. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what success is, right? Success is to, success is breathing. Let's just be clear, okay? Let's just take it to the bottom bare levels. Success is breathing, because there's some people that wasn't successful this morning. You know what I'm saying? So, but to be able to wake up every day and to do something that you love is what I want for everybody. I think everybody deserves it. Let me ask you a quick question before we go. Do you think it's too late for anybody out there? Because some people say like, yo, I was talking to my man, peace to my man. He know who I'm talking about. But he was kind of counting in his head like, yo, this is what I really want to do. But yo, like I'm doing all this and, how long that take me? How long that take me? And my advice to him was, yo, son, if you're doing what you love and you're going after what you love, it don't matter how long it takes. Just go do it.
Well, to be fair to this individual, I'm not sure who he is, but if he's paying attention out there, I get it. Because I was fortunate enough to come across this at a time when I wasn't responsible for anybody but me.
So you were younger?
I was young. I was 20, 24, 25 maybe. 25 maybe, somewhere around there. 26, but it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I was young. Like I said, at the time, my wife and I were dating and we were living together, but she's a grown woman too. If it doesn't work out, she can fend for herself. Right. So I really was not responsible for anyone but myself.
Right, I got you.
No house at the time.
Right.
I was upset about a car that got hit.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, I didn't have much.
You could take chances.
I could take chances. Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure that, let's just say we're 15 years in now, 16 years in.
Okay.
And I now have 2 children, mortgage, car note, yada, 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 yada. Mm-hmm. It becomes a lot more difficult now because I'm not responsible for just me anymore. At the end of the day, I still have to provide for my family.
Right. You still got things you gotta do. Yeah.
You become a lot more timid now in going out on a limb. You don't want to just dive in.
Right.
And so I understand that position.
Right.
I was just fortunate. Blessed, however you want to.
You know what? I get that and I understand it too. I do. But I just feel like, I don't know. See, I think that's, that kind of, that kind of goes into like a spiritual realm for me, because I feel like if it's meant for you to do, God's going to see you through and get you to where you need to be. I think everybody in here is created, in this world, is created to do a purpose work. It's just us and our faith that helps us find that purpose work. And you found your purpose work, and I want that for everybody.
Sure.
But so even though you were younger, and I get all that, but you still had to take a chance.
Sure. And I'm not saying I would not have taken it now.
Right.
I feel like I absolutely would have.
Okay.
I'm just saying I get
it too.
Any sort of hesitancy.
The fear.
For sure.
For sure. I mean, I do. I get it too. But you know what? I think we got to face the fear, and I'm sure that you think the same thing, man. I just want, you know what it is? I just want people to experience what we feel. Because it's a beautiful feeling. You know what I'm saying? It really is. Like, because I remember how it felt when I used to work for Comcast, and I loved the money at the time. I loved the schedule at the time. I even loved the people. But damn, when you come into work and there's already 175 calls waiting, I mean, damn. And and they don't stop, bro. They don't stop until like 12 o'clock. And in the morning, and then out from 12 to 1, we can be in after call work. Like, come on. Like, the whole time it's like, welcome to Comcast. I couldn't take it no more, son. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I knew nah. And you know what? I just, you know what I feel for? I feel for those students or those people who don't believe early on that they can live their dream. That's what really bothers me. So they say, well, you know what? I'm just going to go work in the warehouse, man. I'm just going to do that. And I get it, right? Because it's easy. Not easy, but it's to get to the money is
the path of least resistance.
The path of least resistance. But it's like treading water. And I was telling my man, I said, listen, it may seem like treading water is easier than swimming because you learn how to tread first before you swim. But I promise you, treading water will make you more tired and will be more painful than swimming.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we sure need to learn how to tread water, but we got to learn how to swim. And that's what I want for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I tell my kids all the time, man, just like we talk about, like, don't say can't. Whatever it is that you want to do,
go do it.
Go do it.
Go do it.
It's that simple.
That's it.
I'm not going to ever discourage them if they say, I don't care if my son woke up tomorrow and said, I want to be the trash man. Be the best goddamn trash man.
That's it. That's it. Be the best you can be. All right. Any final words for any pieces of advice, anything, any final words, man?
Only piece of advice I could get anybody out there that's not sure, or maybe you found or have an idea, man, there's a lot of things at our disposal now that a lot of people just don't know.
Right.
Everybody's got a phone, laptop, tablet, whatever it may be. Google it, man. There's information out there. Google it. Ask a friend. There's always some way to find information and get it to you, and then go after it. Simple as that.
Go after it with everything you got, right?
That's it. Well,
listen, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Kevin Philpotts. Let's give him another round of applause.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, bro. Well, listen, man, I definitely want to check back in with you, just to, continue to hear some of the wonderful things that you're doing, some of the wonderful lives that I do feel like, once I feel like, you put that out there and your heart is out there, whatever, I do feel like the opportunities for you to encourage and influence children, I feel like they're going to come more abundantly to you. So when they start coming, I'm like, I want to sit down with you.
We can definitely sit down
and then we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But listen, it's been a pleasure, and I appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, that's another episode of Mr. Brice's Neighborhood Show. Like I said, we come to you. I can't tell you that we coming to you every week because we're not. Maybe every 2 weeks, possibly. It's probably been like 2 weeks or whatever. But here's what I promise you. Okay, I can't tell you regularly time we're going to come to you, but I will promise you that I will continue to bring you inspiring stories from the community.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I'd like to say to you as well,
my man,
keep doing the work that you're doing. I see it. I hear it. It's great work. Everything that you do, touching somebody, it helps, man.
I appreciate
catch on
you.
and move on. So keep doing it.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you sincerely, man. And on that note, we're going to say let's go Phillies, even though we Yankee fans, but it's all good. We can represent the Phillies, but them fans always get crazy, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. My man hit me like, yo, that's why, New Yorkers suck and blah. I'm like, yo, son, you can't even, you know what I'm saying? But I won't let you kill my joy of me rooting for these Phillies, man. You know what I mean?
Our Yankees got more than all 8 teams.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. So that's on my man. But that's another show, The Clinical Angle. Stay tuned to that. But anyway, listen, thank you for being on the Mr. Brice's show, Mr. Brice Neighborhood Show, and appreciate you. And thank you all for listening. You guys have a good evening.